So my name is Susan Spash. I live in the middle of London in Fulham, and I'm 56. I'll be 57 later this year. So I was originally diagnosed with PH in 2003. 16 years later, you get into a routine, you get into managing life. I think my life is probably slightly easier now. Well, I know it's easier now than it was when I was first diagnosed, because actually I'm in a better state. The medication that I'm on has improved my position, and I'm better able to manage things much more normally. That's not to say that life is really absolutely normal, but I would say in many ways people don't know when they meet me and talk to me, sit in the office with me, meet me on the golf course. They just don't know that I have anything at all that would sort of compromise my life. My family, I have to say, have been excellent. I have a very, very supportive husband. We'd always sort of joked about if we had children or when we had children, would he be the stay-at-home dad or would I be the stay-at-home mum? Work is very important to me, and so neither of us actually stayed at home. We both went on with our full-time work and we had childcare at home. But my husband has always been there. He's always been the one who would run around with the children in the park, or when we went skiing, he'd be the one who'd be carting their skis around and doing all of that. More from a day-to-day perspective, we've again fallen into a routine where things that I don't get on with so well, things that involve bending or carrying or going up and down stairs, he will do. He's brilliant. Things that are a little bit more sedentary, I suppose, like the ironing or something like that, I will do. He doesn't come with me to every appointment. It's really not necessary. But he's always there, and I know if I asked him, he would come. My boys, I have two boys. They're now 22 and 24. They were quite young when I was diagnosed, and on reflection, I don't think they really understood what it was and why mummy, didn't run around or leap about in the swimming pool or whatever it was when we were on holiday. I have quite an active life, although I work and that's quite ordinary and I sit at my desk all day. As a family, we do try and get out and about. Someone did once say to me, people with pulmonary hypertension can be in two categories. You can have an illness or you can have a life. And I think I'm definitely one where I'm in the have a life category. As much as possible, I carried on skiing. Not hugely, an annual holiday and I would ski, and it wouldn't be every day, but I would join the family. But recently I took up golf and that has been brilliant. We go away to weekends. Weekends we go away to Norfolk and we'll walk on the beach. We've walked in Switzerland, which is where we spent a lot of time holidaying. So I do try and keep active rather than stopping just because I get a bit breathless. So in terms of looking after myself, emotionally, mentally, I would say that from a young child, being ill with a hole in my heart as a young child, you build a certain amount of resilience. So I'm not necessarily the first person who'll go and talk to someone or even ask someone for help. And I think that's my way of coping with it. Generally, life can be challenging and has its difficulties. And I'm in the world of, the cup is half full. Think of what you've got. My children love me, lovely. My husband is very supportive. And all things considered, my life could be a lot worse. And I'm very lucky with the medication, and the medication has worked. So in terms of dealing with it and coping with it, I'm not probably the most open person, but I feel that deep down I have resilience and a sort of positive mental attitude, and that's what helps me get through. In terms of what I've learnt about living with PH over 16 years, it has been a bit of a journey. I think I go through phases of sharing my issue or my problems or my difficulties with the people that I'm with, and then other times I forget who I've told and who I haven't told, and then I'm not quite sure when to bring it up. Early on, when I probably didn't really know what I was doing and didn't know when to tell people, you'd be building coping mechanisms. So if I was going shopping with girlfriends and we were walking up a hill and I got a bit puffed, I'd stop and look in a shop window. If we were walking, say in Switzerland and there was a hill, I'd stop and take a photograph or say it wasn't the view lovely, just to give myself a little bit of space and time. As time has gone on though, I think it is much better, and I have found it's much easier if people just know, because then you don't have to remember who you've told and who you haven't told, and you don't have to sort of almost make excuses for yourself. I think 16 years ago I had no clue what pH was. I had no real idea. I did, of course, search the web, and under the advice of one of the lovely nurses that I met, and she said, if you're going to look at a website, look at PHA UK, because it is a genuinely supportive website. And I found that the information there was very practical and actually gave me hope, because there was so much that was unknown about it. And I think, you know, words of wisdom to someone who is newly diagnosed is actually, you know what, this is a condition, it's not going to be cured today or tomorrow, but it is something which is totally manageable. And if you are on the right treatment and the treatment agrees with you and works, life can go on. It's not some sort of Damocles that hangs over you. Where would I like to leave this, I suppose, in terms of a message to someone who might be newly diagnosed, or indeed the family or support network for someone who is newly diagnosed? I really believe that in this day and age, with the treatments that are out there, that like me, you have a decision at this point. It's, do I have an illness or do I have a life? And for me, very firmly, I was in the world of I have a life, and I've absolutely embraced that. And despite having pulmonary hypertension, I wouldn't change it. My life has carried on. I think probably being restricted in some areas has meant that I've explored different areas in different ways. I would never be playing golf now. I would still be batting down a ski slope. So I really think that in terms of looking forward, it's really about life is what you make of it, and go for it.